Welcome to another episode of the Banner Report podcast, starring Cody Adams and Steve Crowley. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Banner Report podcast. We are coming to you live on November 12th, 2024. This is episode 2 of the reigning defending champ season. Boys, how are we doing? How are we liking the team so far? Oh, by the way, I'm Cody, that's Steve, and that's Jacob.
Hola, ¿cómo te llamas?
If you couldn't tell.
Once again, we're coming in with only one loss since last recorded, so that's good. I mean, it'd be great to be 12-0 like the Cavs, but I like where we're at with what we've had for limitations so far with JB going out. I feel like, and KP not being in at all, I feel like we're doing pretty good, and Tatum's showing that he's willing to shoulder a lot of load this year, it seems. Hopefully with Jaylen coming back, it'll help out a bit, but I feel like we've used Tatum a lot this year to start. I mean, he can take it, but I'm happy with it so far, though. There's not much to complain about for the Celtics, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, this team's going to be the most boring team to cover during the regular season. There's no drama with this team. They just go out there, do their business, go home. We don't give a shit about the regular season. This is this is Adam Silver's worst nightmare for one of their best teams in the league. They get no coverage. You put on ESPN, ABC, any of them, nobody's going to talk about the Celtics because they're boring. They need drama in the league, and the rest of the league's kind of falling apart injury by injury, so that's kind of unfortunate. But this team's going to be really fun to watch all year because there's going to be no pressure. You know we're not playing for the regular season this year.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny that you say that. I was reading the latest Sports Illustrated issue, and they interviewed Adam Silver, and he's like, "I think I've done a great job in my tenure. We've had we have 6 different champions the last 6 years. Right? No, 6 different champions the past decade." He says something like that. There's never been more parity than now in the NBA. I mean, if you think about it, it's the Celtics, the Nuggets, the Bucks. The Warriors, the Bucks,
Lakers.
There's been no repeat champions since the Warriors with KD.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that is a fair point. I mean, that is who knows what that's doing. I feel like I don't know what the NBA could do to just spike interest out of nowhere, and you know what I mean. I feel like I don't know if Adam Silver is doing a bad job or not. I feel like battling with the NFL just seems like a impossible mission at the moment, just with how our culture is. It's hard to battle with their TV ratings regardless. And I mean, we have a crazy amount of talent, so it's hard to fail. It's hard to pinpoint, I don't know, what would you guys think he could be doing differently? I do. The parody is amazing. I don't think that's him doing that though. It's just the league, but I don't know. I don't have a problem with Adam Silver, to be honest.
No, I think he's doing a fine job. I mean, there's his biggest thing, and from my takeaway from the interview was that expansion, they're at the point where they want to expand, and they want to expand the WNBA because that's, at its biggest popularity levels in ever. Same with the NBA, but they don't want to expand too fast they don't want to just. Yeah, they just don't want to overexpand too much and not have it be as lucrative. Because he said that adding 2 new franchises to the team is adding 2 new partners to your business. That's a multi-billion-dollar business. It's not easy. And same for the WNBA. So it's managing all those egos and making sure that the markets are profitable, and the teams like Oklahoma City stay competitive. He's very proud in taking responsibility for creating all this parity and you'll see that with the new CBA and the new tax implications that you can't buy players like you used to. Celtics are the end. You're going to get rewarded more for developing talent than you are going to get from buying talent.
I know. And it took a long time for us to build up the Celtics.
Seriously.
But they are now.
Yeah. It wasn't we're not a free agent destination. We're not the Lakers, we're not the Knicks, for what it's worth. They used to be a bigger free agent market, but a lot of ours was built correctly, drafting, trading, our front office just did it better. And unfortunately, with the new CBA, we're going to get punished for that, even though we did it the right way. But if you keep winning championships this way, you can just keep rolling that tax bill up until the next owner buys it and decides not to. But the one good thing that they have about expanding the NBA is that they already know the markets work where they're going to send the teams. Like, they're going to send one to Vegas. Vegas teams always work because people are always flying in and out of Vegas anyways. It's something for them to do. It's a tourist destination, even if the locals aren't into the team. And you're going to send one to Seattle, and Seattle deserves the team anyways because theirs got pulled out from underneath them.
Ripped out from them, yeah.
And sent to Oklahoma City. So as long as you can... I think the hardest part with the expansion would be finding the front offices for these teams that are competent. Because if you don't have a competent front office when you start a brand new team, like, you're kind of shit out of luck. Like, you're going to be bad for a while. After a couple of years, the new toy feeling for the fans of around the area is going to wear off. And then you're going to be kind of stuck in kind of the middle. Maybe like like Oklahoma City was for a long time before they ended up with SGA and Chet.
I got a good idea. How about to settle the next GOAT debate, we give one of them to LeBron and one to Michael Jordan?
In terms of what? Owning a team?
Just they own it. I mean, Michael Jordan
LeBron's
already.
going to own a piece of the Vegas team.
Oh yeah. So let Michael Jordan go to Seattle, I guess. But yeah, then we can really settle it.
I think we've already seen Michael Jordan, the owner.
We saw him in a different era, though. He was playing against plumbers, or I don't know. It'd be funny to be like, oh, that was a different owner in era, though, when he owned the Bobcats. Now it's so different. He'd have to have a new run.
It certainly was an error on his teams. But enough about that. The Celtics, they're 9-2, set in second place in the East. The Cavaliers just keep winning. I mean, that's crazy. On the 4th, they dominated the Hawks in Atlanta, 123-93. That game was over in the third quarter. They just couldn't. The Hawks are the Hawks, and we're playing them again tonight in the NBA Cups, and we're favored by 15. Spoiler alert: I like the number.
Yeah, there's no Trae Young tonight either. So
no Trae Young, no DeAndre Hunter, no Bogdanovich. Their whole team. It's just Jaylen Johnson and Zachary Richarche, Jesus, out there.
That's not even a good game to bet on, honestly. Like, I don't even want to bet on that game because who knows how long our starters are in, and you know what I mean? Like, we might blow them out.
Well,
maybe bet on Pritchard.
It's the NBA Cup, so point differential does matter.
Yeah, that's why I would.
You're right. I forgot.
Because of the points differential, that's why I would take it. I wouldn't take player props on that game because, like Jacob said, we could be blowing them out by the half, and who knows? You might only get 28 minutes of Jason Tatum tonight.
If you were to take a player prop, I'd probably take Jaylen Johnson points over.
Yeah,
it's like that. He's their only option.
That's true. Yeah. He's gonna play all 48 because of the point differential we talked about, which is. I guess thinking of it now, since there's a point differential, that can be tough for opposing coaches if they're in a blowout. Like, hey, do I try for this point differential if I'm the Hawks? Maybe, because you're probably not competing for a championship this year. But if you're a fringe team, say the Knicks, and they're trying to compete for a championship, it's like, hey, do I want to put miles on my best players if we're getting blown out in a cup game to try and mitigate the point differential, or do I just sit them here?
Well, it does count towards the regular season, so in theory, you would want them.
But if you're getting blown out, if you're down by 30 in the fourth quarter, am I trotting Jalen Brunson and Knicks out and Towns out there to try and get back on the points differential, or am I just sitting up for the rest of the game?
No, but that's the Knicks. They actually have something to play for. The Hawks don't.
Yeah, but the Knicks and the Hawks are obviously in different situations, but there's those fringe teams that they could win a championship if everything falls the right way, but then you're probably not gonna. Maybe more teams out west, maybe the Timberwolves or something like that. I don't know.
So what's your point?
It's a weird position to be in when you're the team being blown out. If you have bigger aspirations in the NBA Cup, or if you're aspirations are in line with the NBA Cup, like which way you're going to go, whether you're going to sit your guys in the fourth, even though you're getting blown out, or if you're going to play them the whole fourth. Like you said, Jaylen Johnson, he's going to be shooting everything for the Hawks tonight. Is he going to play 48 tonight? Like,
Yeah, him and Richardson will probably play all of the minutes because they're both still young, and you got to get them to get their opportunities out there.
just feels like a lot of miles on guys in games that probably aren't going to matter, just to try and mitigate a score differential. So it's
Yeah, but who else are you going to play?
Well, yeah, they're all injured. I get that, but like on other teams, like the Grizzlies or something like that, like are you going to put more miles on Ja Morant in the game? You're down by 30 against the
No,
Nuggets. Like,
no, yeah, fair.
Hopefully
fair.
they're not down by 30.
But you saw it with the Celtics last year. They played all their starters until the very end, and that ruffled some feathers. Didn't that piss off the Nets?
The
Like,
Bulls, remember Billy Donovan?
Oh,
we were hacking Drummond at the end of the game.
yeah, and that rubbed people the wrong. Like the starters were in there hack a Drummond until the very end, and we were up big. So I do think teams take this seriously.
Yeah,
I do think they take it seriously. But I don't know. They do and they don't because Trae Young's not playing.
Yeah,
I feel like if you're getting
play tonight either, so that's what it is.
he could. I mean, did you see a report he might not?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Him and Horford are both playing tonight. I think that
Who?
they should have sat Tatum just to say fuck you to the NBA for blowing that call in the corner against Giannis.
Oh yeah, which we'll get to.
That was gross. I mean, this would have been a great fuck you to the NBA. Like, yeah, well, you fucking blew a call. That was a clear flagrant. He could have been out for 6 weeks with a sprained ankle on that one. And this is what you get now. Your star player isn't going to play against the Hawks because we wouldn't have needed him to win tonight anyways. With everything against the Hawks.
Yeah.
I'm happy for the differential rule though, just because it makes tonight pretty fun. Like there are a lot of games where the second half of the game will actually be like. There's so many games. Like I'm a NBA freak, but if it's a 20-point differential at halftime, I'm turning it off until I see a score update that it changed. But with this, I might actually look in to be like, oh, are they going to pile on like crazy? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like it adds a little sauce to the end of games. With
For
that you
Luke
don't get.
Cornett's mortgage.
Yeah.
Here.
You can finally pay off that mortgage that he's been just working slowly on getting back. I can see Luke Cornett having like a 2.5 bedroom house, like in like some tiny little town, like like Leominster or something fucking stupid, and like it's like not even a crazy expensive house. He could have paid it off like 10 years ago, but he's like, no, I'm just gonna slowly chip away at this, get my fucking credit up.
He drives like a humble Toyota Camry, or maybe like a souped out Honda Civic. It's only like a $35,000 car.
Do you remember the Mark?
Fucking, it's like Chrysler Pacifica with like all the fucking the dad van over there. He's got all the TVs inside of it and everything like that. I bet you that's what he drives.
Jesus, like a stakeout van.
Yeah.
Do you remember that Mad Dog Mark guy who was on the Lakers? Matt, it's like Matt. What was his name? But Shaq. He was Luke Cornett vibe on the the three-peat Celtics. I'm gonna look up his name. Yeah, three-peat freaking Lakers. He had like that was what he drove into the lot, and like there's stories about Shaq being like this guy. Yeah, Mark Madsen. He like Shaq wouldn't let him go to the clubs because he was so pure. He's like a pure like virgin. Mormon on the Lakers in the 2000s, and he like they called him Mad Dog, but he's actually like the nicest dude ever, and he would come in like Cole's clothes, so like Shaq would bring him out to like shop with him and stuff. Basically like Mark Madsen seems like our Luke Cornett, where he's just like the lovable goof giant guy that doesn't care about like what he looks like.
Luke Cornett feels like spicy. He feels like spicy Tim Duncan. That's all he is. He's just like a nerd who just shows up and is good at basketball. I mean, not nearly as good as Tim Duncan, but
I mean, I would say like Tim Duncan's like a beef Wellington, and like Luke Cornett's like a rodeo burger from Burger King. Fancy, cheaper version.
I only meant spicy in the sense of his person. Like he's like Luke Cornett does have more of an exuberant personality than Tim Duncan, who's very demure, very mindful,
like
very demure.
Like the Lopez's. They're kind of like the Lopez brothers. All in the same family.
It's also crazy that one of them is still playing in the league and the other one hasn't played in the league in It's probably been 3 or 4 years at this point, right?
Who the hell knows? I mean, who cares? But who knows? I mean, the other one's about to be traded for a fucking sack of nickels. Like,
Yeah, the Bucks need to blow it up.
exactly.
It's getting bad.
Anyways, moving on. The Warriors edge out the Celtics in a thriller. Well, not really. It was more of an upsetter if you're a Celtics fan because we just kept turning the ball over. 122 to 118, the Warriors take it in the Garden. What did we think about that game?
Probably the one team I don't like to lose to.
Yeah,
Same.
I'd rather lose any other team than the Warriors.
Losing to the Heat sucks.
Yeah, but you know, at the end of the day, like, it doesn't really matter. Like, you play them 4 times a year, so you're gonna get them back at some point. You lose to the Warriors, only got one more shot at them in Golden State. The Warriors
True, and it feels like they still have the upper hand from obviously beating us in the finals.
Yeah, but I mean, we also beat them by 50 last year, and it's not an exaggeration. We actually beat another team with NBA players that's trying to win a game by 50 points.
I know, but it does still like that. The regular season doesn't like. I still do have a bad taste when I think of the Warriors. With the Heat, we dismantled them last playoffs. Like,
Yeah, 4-1.
And I still feel like that too. The thing is, I feel like the Heat conference finals loss like I still do about the Warriors finals loss. It still hurts me the same. Well, the thing about the Heat was that I think I was like we should have beaten them by like a million. That's why the Heat bites me more. The Warriors were like on our level that year, so it didn't. That doesn't like hurt me as much as like, oh, we were just too young for the thing. But like when I look at the Heat, I'm like, oh god, those guys that stole that year from us. Why did we lose to them? And I'll feel like that forever.
I mean, my only takeaway really from that game was the Warriors are good and Buddy Hield is good. Which, wow.
I mean, he's a perfect fit on that team. Like, he just slid right into the clay spot. Like, hey, just go move without the ball, and Curry will find you. Like, we already know how to play with an off-ball shooter. He fits in perfectly with that team. I was really surprised with their defense.
That defense was pretty good,
Really
yeah.
good. That was unbelievable. They were on top of us the whole game. That was very impressive. I thought it was a good test for us. I mean, you saw a different look. We haven't seen a lot of teams blitz as much as they did on the screen, so we dealt with that a little bit better.
There's also no JB.
No JB, no KP, obviously, because he hasn't played yet this year. Like, you know, that team wouldn't like scare me if you face them in the finals. Like, if that team went on a
As constructed, yeah.
finals,
I'm with you.
know, if we're healthy with Brown and Porzingis, I wouldn't be worried about them. But I just don't know what the hell happened between last year and this year, because last year the Warriors looked lost. Like, they didn't look like the Warriors at all year long. They're kind of running in the mud, and they come out like they're 8-2 or 9-2 right now. Like, and their
like
defense is like one of the best in the league. Like, I don't know if they're just playing their bench guys like Kuminga more or what, but like they look like a completely new, energized team.
Do you think it's because of fresh legs? AKA I was gonna say it's the start of a season. Their two best players are very old. Like, I don't know.
Clay
Yeah,
play on defense for the last couple of years.
No, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see if like Draymond can like play good defense for a whole 82 game season at his age, and same with Curry being like this effective again. We'll see. But the one thing
I'm not worried about Draymond's defense for 82 games. I'm worried about Draymond playing 82 games and not like punching somebody on his team again. Like,
I mean, he's not going to play 82 games, but he's just that's because he's like 35, 36. Like, he's not going to play 82 games.
yeah, that's why I wouldn't be worried about this team in the playoffs ever. I don't think Curry and Draymond could ever last a whole year to the finals. I just don't think that's a thing that their mileage could. Also, they just don't. It's not like maybe if they had a stacked team, but they would have to do so much. Also, I did see a warning from every team that's had Buddy Hield in the past that he does this and looks amazing, and then ends up being your Tobias Harris of your team. So watch out, team, because I saw a map thing that was like, you know, the Jimmy Butler map, or like the schedule where it's like the cycle of like he's so bad, he's so good, he's so like. I saw that's everyone, I guess. So beware.
They got off the bench last year for the Sixers, right? Weren't they?
Yeah.
At the end of the year.
Same with the Kings at the end too.
Well, the Kings are. I don't take anything they do seriously.
The 76ers, you do?
more than the Kings. I mean, this time
He
have at
also,
least won a playoff series in the last 30 years. Like the Kings have made it to one playoff series in the last 30 years. Like I know it's
Fair
and he
hard
enough.
also
about
like,
two bottom of the barrel teams, but come on.
I think he also like flamed out on the Pacers too, and that should be a system for him as well. So it just, I don't know. He just seems like he kind of ends up not playing defense in the end, and I don't know. It seems like like the grass is always greener with him, and then you kind of get used to it, and you're like, oh, this is not winning basketball. In the end, I have no idea
He's
why.
fool's gold.
Yeah, I'm hoping because it's
Um,
the Warriors.
yeah. I mean, we'll talk about it. Maybe they make an addition in the midseason point. Maybe make a big splash for somebody of Greek descent.
Thanasis is
Um,
injured, but I think you might be able to trade for him.
no, Thanasis. Yeah, he's just a free agent.
No, he's
He
signed to
just.
the Bucks.
Oh,
Giannis
he
made him
just
sign
signed.
him. Yeah, Giannis made them sign his brother.
Ah,
It's pretty fucked up with the way the CBA is now. Like, hey, sign my brother who has a torn Achilles real quick.
who wasn't even
Who
good
wasn't
before
playing, but
that.
he didn't have a
Yeah.
torn Achilles.
Um, moving on, the Celtics come back against the Brooklyn Nets in Brooklyn in overtime. They overcome the Nets, 108 to 104. Nets are they're like a shockingly competitive team, despite having like the worst roster in the league by probably a decent margin. I mean, the Raptors are pretty bad without Scotty Barnes, but you know, still. Uh, Anything to take away from that? I mean, they were dug into a deep hole early in that game, but they fought back and they pushed it to OT and they sealed the win in OT. Once again, no JB.
Yeah, it was a weird week without JB. It was good to see Tatum just take on the load. He really put the game on his back for last week.
Uh,
Man, that
that was the last two games. The Celtics. I mean, and we'll move on, I guess, because there's really no takeaways. Like we just get
Well,
into
I had
these.
to take away from that one.
Oh, what?
It was another slow start for us.
Well, right.
The
Yeah,
last
that's what.
couple weeks we've been getting kicked in the mouth. Down 16 to 2 against the Nets, 16 to 2.
No,
against the
16 to 2
Bucks.
against the Bucks.
Both games we went down 16 to 2 to start the game.
Ah,
The last two games we've done it like you can't come out and get punched in the mouth off the rip like that. Like you gotta. The one thing this team really has to understand this year is that like you're the target, like you're the measuring stick for the year. Like this is every team's Super Bowl when they come. Like that's the champs. We want to take the champs out, so they're gonna come out swinging every night. Like you're not gonna be able to ease into games. You got lucky because the Nets, they just couldn't compete for the whole 48 and then overtime. Like I don't think we deserved to win that game, to be honest. The way we were playing, the offense didn't look good. The defense was atrocious. Like you're giving up Cam Johnson's getting buckets on you. I mean, come on. Like you're supposed to be a defensive team. Then you got lucky with the Bucks too, because the Bucks Damian Lillard just had one of those nights. If Damian Lillard had an average night against you and you went down 16 to 2 to start that game, then you lose that game. You don't come back and win that one.
but I mean, listen. I mean, you're right, but they fought back both times and
They
won
did.
both times, and
Credit
they
where
didn't
credit's
have
due.
their second best player for one of them. And also, yeah, you're right. Dame had a tough game. He's not that good at basketball, or not as good at basketball as he used to be. But the reason for the comeback, especially there in the fourth quarter and the third quarter, is that we just started targeting Dame. Like we started getting the mismatch on him and taking them into. They had no answer for that,
Yeah,
which is how we slowly started taking back that lead.
I really like that. Like we were doing that early in the season. It's like picking the scab basically. Like, hey, who's on the court? Who can we just pick at every time we go down the court? And they just did it consistently in the fourth quarter of that game against the Bucks, which is good to see them get back to that because they kind of got away from that. I feel like for the last few games, it's been something I've been watching. They haven't really been picking on one guy a lot, and like,
Well, who do you pick on the Bucks? I mean, on the Nets besides everybody.
well, I mean, like yeah, Cam,
Thomas.
Cam Thomas, yeah, he's the smallest guy. He's competing this year. I mean, shout out to him. Like he's having a great year. And he's actually competing on the defensive end. But I mean, like, dude, you can get
He's
them
weak.
to switch Cam Thomas onto Jason Tatum and get him on the post and just do whatever you want and work out of that and really
Yeah.
put the game away. But you never really did that. It was like the last few games we just haven't really just said pick on this guy and get good offense out of it until you stop it.
No, like
Fair
tonight we
enough.
should have a bunch of opportunities too, like the Nets. That's for sure.
Who the hell is going to be the Hawks starting point guard?
Krejci's out too. Vic
V.
Krejci's out
Krejci,
too.
yeah.
He's out too, so I have no idea. They're gonna pull up G Leaguers. Fort
Who
Wayne
the
Hawks
hell?
are gonna come up to play. No,
It's going to be like Kobe Buffkin or something like that if he's even on the team.
That's Pacers.
Also,
Uh,
teams like the Nets are proof that the expansion would work because it just seems like they're a team of like people that just hodgepodge together from that. Like it's like a misfit team. It feels like at times, but they get it done. And like these are all this like Dennis Schroeder is like so good, and he like teams like hardly even want him because there's so much talent in the league. It's like I mean like Lonnie Walker's a team player that was on this team last year. I think he's in. Yeah, but the Lonnie Walker situation too proved that we could have an expansion. But that's what I thought about when I was watching the Nets game. I was like, these guys feel like no one really wants a lot of these players apart from like a few of them, but they're all very capable.
yeah. Yeah, they do feel a bit like the Island of Misfit Toys. No
Yeah,
rudder, no real direction. I mean, there are pieces that are of value, which is why they're up for. Well, hold on, let's not go on too much fast. But they're one of the front runners to land Giannis, which I don't know why either team would do that. I mean, obviously the Bucks would do it because they need a team to blow it up and to afford the salary of Giannis. But I don't know why the Nets would do that. But anyways, the Bucks game. I mean, it's you had a lot of like off the court, on the court type of drama with JB and JT and Giannis. Giannis doing the too slow, and then JB calling him a child after in the interview. I think people are blowing that a little bit out of perspective because I think they're just competing. I don't think JB's being like I hate that dude. He's a child. I think he's just like he's just he's fooling around. He's just messing around. Whatever. It's foolish.
I think JB actually might hate him.
You think so? Why?
Have you seen each of them ever like handshake after games or anything like that? Like, no, it's always like they're always getting into it on the court every time we play them. Like, I don't know. I just don't feel like they get along very well over there.
I mean,
Which
I
is
think
fine.
JB's competitive, but I don't think he has no real reason to have disdain for Giannis.
I mean, I've been watching some videos on Twitter of Giannis being less than scrupulous.
Yeah, but this was in the first quarter before that happened.
No, that was after. After he elbowed him. That was when he did it. He just elbowed him in the head, and then he did that too.
Oh! I thought you were talking about stepping under JT.
Yeah, he did that too. Like, I mean, like, JB's always gonna stand up for his guys too. I mean, that was gross. Giannis is starting to get to that. Giannis and Embiid both, because Embiid after that series against the Knicks last year, they're both starting to seem a little bit starting to run that edge of dirty, reckless players, which is for the talent level of those two guys that's where it's like it's weird.
and their size. You can't be doing that at 7 feet.
These guys are
I
fucking
mean,
clowns.
Giannis has always played a rough and tumble game. I don't know why people are shocked that he's like a brute.
You're starting to see the videos of him walking up underneath guys when they're shooting a lot and like knocking guys out of the air a little bit and shit like that. And yeah, it's starting to get a little weird. He's a guy who, if he's starting to get blown out and he gets a little frustrated, he might get a little testy.
Yeah, but what NBA player doesn't do that?
Jason Tatum.
No, he just screams at the refs and like throws a tantrum.
Yeah, doesn't hurt nobody though. He's playing dirty. I mean, LeBron James, like Cam Thomas, has never done a dirty play in his life. I
Yeah,
don't
but
think
nobody cares.
gives a
Cam Thomas
shit.
isn't a star.
What NBA player? You didn't say anything about stars.
Well, these guys, one of these things is not like the other. Giannis, JB,
Yeah, one of
LeBron,
these-
those are stars. Cam Thomas is a bench player at best.
I
I
think
he's
that
scoring this year, he could start for a lot of teams.
I think that
he's starting for a team.
Giannis, I think, is just like an '80s or '90s type guy. I don't think he's friends with anyone. He's the type that I don't think is really friends with people around the league, and I don't know, like he's I mean, he respects Jaylen, but I don't think they're friends at all. Like, do you remember the interview he did over the summer where he's calling Jaylen Brown the best player in the league because he won Finals MVP? He definitely has respect for Jaylen Brown. He said he was the best player in the league this whole year until there's another Finals MVP. He just is the type that he's like, I but when we get on the court, I don't give a fuck, and I'm gonna hurt you. Like I just think he's like an '80s or '90s player, but like I don't think he like has. I don't think he really thinks about Jaylen after, but I definitely could see Jaylen hating Giannis off the court. That's for
I
sure.
don't think he maybe likes to play against them because who the hell would like to play against that? I mean, Giannis is
Yeah,
a legitimate freak of nature, and he runs at you full speed, and he's just bigger and stronger and taller than you. That would get tiresome after a while defending. But I don't know. I think the public is starting to turn a bit on the Bucks because they're reaching a very stale level of play, and they got Doc Rivers as the head coach. They haven't been back to the finals in 2 years. People are starting to, the public eye, and by the public eye I mean Twitter, is starting to turn on them a little bit because they're a little bit stale. And it's the popular thing to do when teams get stale. People were getting stale on the Celtics for a bit until we, shut them all up last year.
we're still for Perkins, that's for sure. All the clips of him being like, "Blow the Jays up," like
Yeah,
every year.
yeah, yeah. It is, and like, yeah, yeah, every NBA player, if you look at their record, there could be a questionable call
I
here or
do
there. There could be a
appreciate
compilation of rough calls or rough plays if you want to.
I appreciate how it seems like they chose the funniest pairing of coaches ever, though. It's like who could we possibly pair with Doc Rivers that would make this a funnier situation? Darvin Ham, perfect. It's just like the funniest. Like I look at them like conspiring on the bench. I'm like, I could never be scared of this team. This is so hilarious. Why is it Doc Rivers and Darvin Ham? Like they're just sitting next to each other, looking like dopes on the bench. It's just perfect.
Doc has a losing record since becoming the head coach, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Which is crazy.
I don't remember what was the other guy's name.
Adrian Griffin.
Adrian Griffin. Yeah, Adrian Griffin was like 30-11 or something like that. When they fired him.
Yeah, it wasn't even that
He was having
bad.
a pretty good year. Like, I mean, you keep
They're
that up,
second in the East.
I mean, you keep
They're
that
second.
record going. You're 60 and 22, which is a really good season. Like a 60-win team is a really good season. They're like, yeah, no, we don't want that. We want Doc Rivers to coach this team. Like that will go great.
Yeah, that guy's track record's awesome.
Yeah, that holds up since 2008. I mean, I think the Bucks have won like one playoff series since their title, and that was like 3 or 4 years ago, right?
Well, they lost to the Heat in the first round, right?
Yeah, that was
Last
Giannis
year?
got hurt
2
in
years
that
ago.
one. Giannis got hurt. And he only played like 3 or 4 games out of that series.
What about last year?
Last year they got, I think,
They lost in the first series to the Heat again. No, no, we faced the Heat. They lost to the Pacers. Yeah,
yeah.
same situation of like half injured, basically.
Yeah, I mean, look, Giannis is starting to pile up an injury history too. The last couple of postseasons he hasn't played. I mean, like you play at that the way he plays. Like, not saying the way he plays is dirty. He has some dirty plays. I think like running up under Tatum on that jump shot. That's a dirty play. That's a Zaza Pachulia special.
You think that was intentional?
I don't know if it was intentional to try and hurt him, but he definitely didn't give a shit about it. It was a reckless closeout, which is a flagrant. Like you know not to close out like that. Like everybody knows not to close out like that. He's already like almost 7 feet tall. Like why are you gonna run underneath the guy shooting a jumper? Like you don't need to do that. But like the way the physical style that he plays is not good for your body.
No.
And the way that this Bucks roster is configured right now, with Dame being your second star and the way he plays on a night to night basis now at his age, you're putting a lot on Giannis to try and take over every game. And I don't think he's gonna last through this season either, unless he gets shipped out somewhere or he has some help. But that's our next discussion, I believe, right?
Yeah. I mean, but real quick, while we're talking about this, do you think there's do you think if you just rewind the clock back to last offseason, not this last offseason, the offseason before that where we acquired Drew, do you think they make that trade again to get Dame?
If they know that we get Drew, because there's no way for them to know that we would have gotten Drew, unless they could have gotten a third team involved in the trade to make sure that Drew doesn't go anywhere. But
Yeah, I mean, do you
if
think
you're
they?
looking back and you're looking at what Damian Lillard's done now, when you see that we won a title, then no. But hindsight's always 20/20.
But how could you have thought that sticking with Chris Middleton, Giannis, and Dame Lillard is a winning formula. That was never going to be a winning formula.
I think that it was more fear of Giannis leaving because remember that offseason, it was
Yeah.
a lot of he had a lot of tweets that were a little sketchy and a lot of interviews, and he was going to be a free agent if he didn't sign the extension of that year. So I think it was, hey, like let's make a big splash for him. Let's get him a really good guy he can play with. Try and like, hey, stay here. Look, we're going to try and build around you. We're going to try and give you whatever you need to win. And it was a terrible move by the front office because you signed a 30-something-year-old Damian Lillard.
And stuck with Chris Middleton, which is more
injury issues. Like your front court, your two backcourt is going to be tough all year. So it was a bad front office move. It was a scared front office move. I feel like just to try and keep Giannis around. But it's like at the same time, I can't blame him. Like you got a guy that's an MVP and a decoy. Like you got to try and keep him happy and keep him around.
Got you your first title since Kareem.
Yeah, you kind of got to bite the bullet on that one and give him what he wants.
Yeah, it just depends if he leaves in the next couple of years. Then it's like, damn, we really we just did all that to keep him, and he left.
You still
And
got
that's
the title though. At the end of the day, like you could suck for the next 10 years, you still got the title. Like we know about that. We got the '08 title, and then the next year we had a shot at it before some injuries, and then after that we were kind of middle of the road, bottom of the barrel until 4 or 5 years ago. So like, yeah.
Do you think their odds of winning a championship would have been better or worse if they didn't make the trade last year?
I think it would have been better.
Yeah,
Why?
me too.
Well, are you talking about betting odds before the season starts? Because I think if you just kept Drew Holiday and ran that back, he would have been better because we know what Dame is. But
Yes.
your odds after the trade, your odds, according to Vegas, would have been better because we didn't know what Dame was going to be.
Well, no. I don't mean what Vegas said. I mean, do you think that team with Drew Holiday instead of Dame Lillard has it had a better chance of winning the finals?
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
Okay, and why?
Drew's a better connector. He moves the ball better. He sets up your offense better. Dame and Giannis play such different games. Dame wants to dribble up and like hang onto the ball, and dribble out the clock and run a couple of screens and then shoot. Like Giannis wants to get out and run with it, and Dame is too old to be getting out and running with him. And you need defense on that team. Like you saw what we did to them. Like with Damian Lillard being out there, like we just said, "Hey, Dame, come here." The whole fourth quarter was, "Hey, Dame, come here." Like you're gonna play some defense, and you don't know how to do that. So, like,
And they
can't
have
do that
two
again.
of the best defenders in the league,
yeah,
and
you
it still
can't-
doesn't matter.
You can't do that against Drew Holiday. Like you just can't. You can't play that that type of basketball against that team. And also, like, what else did they give up in that trade? They gave up Drew. And they
You
gave
want to
up-
hear something crazy? They gave up Grayson Allen too.
Yeah, Grayson Allen and picks. That was what it was
Yeah.
too. But like,
Grayson
that
Allen's
team
very
would
good.
be better, I think, without Damian Lillard in that spot.
And you're already forgetting the addition by subtraction. You take Drew away from the Celtics. Like,
Yeah.
who knows what this team would have played like it down the stretch with no Drew. You
We
know,
make the trade for Porzingis if we don't think that we can get Drew.
And dude, they traded Dante the year before that too.
Yeah.
For like nothing. For like nothing.
Yeah, they were just talking about that. Was that Trill was talking about?
Yeah,
that
that's
today? Like,
that's how I heard the
front
Grayson
office-
Allen thing.
front
Yeah.
office Since their title has not done them any favors.
No.
Interesting.
They've been like
And-
it's like they've been in like preservation mode, but have like chosen like there's two options. They choose the wrong one on every time. Like every moment they're like wrong option, like every time.
And they
Yeah.
haven't gotten it right. They've just like I think they've been making moves scared of losing Giannis because like we said, like they're not a free agent market over there in Milwaukee either. Like if Giannis leaves, like no free agents gonna be like, yeah, let me go play in Milwaukee. Like that'll be fun. Like that's a big fan base. Like I'm gonna have it's a great fan base over there. I don't think Milwaukee's a bad sports
No.
town at all. But
Not
it's
at all,
like
yeah.
no NBA players are gonna be like, I don't know, Atlanta or Milwaukee. Like
Dude,
same amount of
Dame,
pressure both places. One of them's nice weather and has a good nightlife, and the other one's Milwaukee. Like in December, like I don't know. It's tough. Like, they have to keep around. Like the small market teams have to keep their big names.
Yeah, I get. So I mean, you can justify it. It's just the sliding doors moment of do you even make that trade? Are you like it's just interesting to do an autopsy on that because now we're at this point where it's heavily rumored that Giannis is going to be playing for a different team, maybe this year, maybe next year, at some point. You know, his future is not certain. It's not guaranteed that he's coming back to the Bucks. And he's been rumored to be traded to the Warriors, the Nets, the Knicks. Who else am I missing? Am I missing anybody else?
I haven't seen too many of the rumors. I know those are the big three over there.
I was gonna say I've heard like Heat.
The Heat, yeah, but how is that going to work?
The thing about some teams is that they don't need to match the salary because they're not at the CBA yet. They're not at the tax. So they don't have to match Giannis' salary. They can take in more than they put out.
Okay, but counterpoint. Yeah, and basically you're saying the Nets.
Yeah.
Right?
But
what are they going to give him?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You have to also do, hey, have our draft picks for the next 25 years, naming rights to our first children, Cam Johnson, because he's fun to have around. And that's the problem. Like, when you trade for a superstar that's that good and like that big, you're just gonna gut your franchise to get him, and then who's that guy gonna play with? Like, you can make the trade and bring the big name in, but he's not gonna play with anybody, so you're not gonna have any success because you had to give away all your good players to get him. Because the Bucks aren't gonna be like, yeah, here, we'll just give it to you for Cam Johnson and some picks. Like, they're not gonna do that. Like,
and I'm assuming the cupboard's already bare because of the Dame trade. They're really up against it. They have nothing to offer and nothing to give.
yeah.
It's
Giannis,
just so.
Giannis is their big chip right now to restock their franchise, but like you can't really do it because it's at the end of the day, like that's your only guy. And also, like,
It's just so funny.
Really bad with all the moves that you've made over the last 5-6 years, like we talked about, to keep him happy and try and compete for a title with him, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, guess what? All those were wrong, and we're gonna trade the fucking guy away.
The fact that it's the Nets is hilarious too. Like, are they gonna fall into this trap again? Are they gonna trade for a massive? Like, out of all the teams, they should know. They've done it. They just did it with KD and like they just had this happen again, and they might try to like they're rumored to do it again, where they give up
Tell
the
you
whole
what.
lot.
I'll get real nervous if the Nets trade for Jimmy Butler and Giannis.
I just Giannis, like, sure.
I mean, I just feel like that team would, and they have Dennis Schroeder. I just feel like that team is like that would be the grittiest team ever assembled.
It would be impossible to get both of them. Like, how
Why?
much you would have
No, it
to
wouldn't.
think about how much you would have to give up to get Giannis, and then how much you would have to give up to get Jimmy.
I think you can get Jimmy for pretty affordable. He doesn't. I mean, you want to talk about a guy who doesn't play.
Yeah, it's true. He doesn't play that much this last couple of years.
But yeah, it's also like what are you doing? You're assembling Giannis and Jimmy just for what, the 4th seed? Like,
Yeah, and Jimmy's a free agent after next year too, so
so
drafted this year actually.
yes or no? And I want each of you to answer this individually. Does Giannis finish the season as a Milwaukee Buck, Steve?
Yeah, he does.
Yeah,
Jacob?
me too. Yeah,
Those big ass trades like that for those superstars, they always happen in the off season. Like after the team had a disappointing end of the season, and Giannis is upset about being in Milwaukee, and maybe you can get him out of there for a little bit cheaper than if you try and do it in the middle of the season while the Bucks are still trying to compete for a title, and they think they can still do it. Like they're gonna want way too much.
Where do you think he'd go? Where do you think's a realistic spot for him to go to land?
Trade or
Yeah.
I mean, Golden State.
What do they have to give him?
You'd probably end up giving up like Draymond. You would give up picks because I think Golden State probably has a lot of their own picks because they don't really make big trades for anybody. So I'm assuming they're a decent amount of picks. Maybe give up, I don't know, Kuminga, Draymond, and then somebody maybe Kevon Looney to match salary.
Then you have keep Davis, Jackson, whatever, Trace Davis, whatever, TDJ, whatever his
Yeah,
name
he's
is.
been pretty good for him. And then, I mean, I would hate to give up Kuminga, but I mean, you're also getting Giannis, so it's kind of like.
Give up Wiggins, dude. Don't give up Kuminga, who's actually valuable.
But there's the problem is like, do the Bucks want Wiggins?
Well, if you're
They're-
rebounding,
they're-
who cares?
the Warriors don't even want Kuminga. Warriors hardly like Kuminga.
That's a weird thing, dude. Like when I watched that game against us, I was like, this guy's fucking good. Like, I mean, I
I,
know they hit like threes that like they shouldn't hit. Like that was another thing that pissed me off about that game was the three threes in a row by Kyle Anderson, who's shooting like 12% from three this year. Then he comes down and knocks down three straight against us. That really pissed me off in that game. But like Kuminga's not like a great shooter, but he's hitting him in that game. He just looked really good defensively, offensively. Like, and he doesn't get any minutes over there. He's a bench player. It's like, dude, start the guy. I mean, how am I going to argue with him when they have a really good record? But
Is there any way Dallas can make that trade work?
I don't think you can make the money work because they're at the cap too. So
Who are
like,
they
they're at
paying?
the match salary, Kyrie and Luka,
and
I
Clay
think,
now too.
and Clay now too. I forgot about Clay.
Like what a trade for
Lively.
of Omax, some picks, whatever to make the money work, and then like what's his name? The guy who is the power forward who was a rookie last year.
Lively.
Yes.
Yeah.
For Giannis. That's not nothing.
Well, how many picks you got left though? Did they make no? Did Clay go in free agency to Dallas or did they trade for him?
Free agency. Right?
Well, they must have some of their picks left, I would assume. Because they haven't made any really big trades. Well, they traded for Kyrie, so.
That was more of a dump off, though. I don't know if they gave up that much.
I mean,
Like no one believed in Kyrie before that trade. He really revives his image.
also, would Giannis want to play with Luka? Like, this is the same thing we talked about with Dame and the way he plays. He likes to play slow with the ball in his hand. I think Luka plays at a turtle's pace.
I mean, yes, because he wanted to play with Dame.
Well, I don't know if it was his choice for Dame. I think it was more like, hey, the front office, hey, let's make a splash and make it. Look at this guy, he's really good. I'm assuming he had some input in it, but now also like if he sees how he plays alongside Dame, then like he knows how he's probably going to play alongside Luka, and also the ball's got to be out of his hands a lot because you got Kyrie on that team too.
It just hit me. Oklahoma City.
Yeah. Who do you
Not
give
too
up?
far of a move. I mean, it's another small market, another chance where a team that he can move up and down with. They have a star who's better than Dame, and they have the ability to make it work. I think that if anything, his chance of landing anywhere
Before
is
the
there.
injury, I would have said Chet and picks.
No, I think you got to keep Chet. I don't think you can get rid of him.
Well,
Yeah, I don't know if you'd be destroying the power of friendship.
Even if you're gonna try and rebuild or whatever, like you still want to get a good piece back for Giannis. Like you're not gonna give him up for J-Dub and picks
Why?
or whatever.
Yeah, you would. You give him up for Jaylen Williams and picks.
Not if I'm the Bucks. I still have to put a product out there. People are gonna fucking.
He's gonna walk.
Huh?
He's gonna walk if you don't try to get rid of him.
Who?
Giannis. There's no way he's gonna stick to this team forever.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if but he's under contract the next 3 years, I think. So whether he wants to walk or not, he's still gonna be out there playing. So you still have a couple more years to court him and keep him around.
It's also like, what else are you gonna get? Who else is gonna beat that offer of J-Dub and picks?
Well, that's what I'm saying. You don't take J-Dub. You say, hey, we want Chet. Like we're gonna give you a DPOY and a multiple-time MVP, and like.
And the answer is no.
And if the answer is no, and the answer is no, I still have Giannis on my team at the end of the day. I'm not going to be mad about it. Like,
Okay, when Chet turns 25 and SGA turns 28, we'll just sign him, and we're gonna win the championship.
yeah,
I also would say no.
Need to make the move. Well, the Bucks kind of need to make the move, but like,
If you're,
the
you
Thunder
would say
aren't.
no if you're OKC.
Yeah, that just it kind of feels like everyone was like, ooh, JB for KD, oh, JB for AD. Like people were dangling that over our head for so long, and it's like, do you dump everything you've been building? Like they legitimately could win in like 3 years by just adding small pieces. Like just
Fair.
plug the center hole, or they could trade for Giannis and destroy everything and not have him in 3 years.
I mean, the Celtics didn't just win the championship by building their team. I mean, they did, right? But like they traded a key piece, and they added like Derek White. Like they did make big splashes. Now Giannis, they didn't.
But it's
make
not for
a
Giannis.
splash,
Yeah,
but they
you can't do that.
you know.
I know what you mean. Yeah, that's what I mean by plugging holes. Like you get your best players you shouldn't be like your top 2 or 3 you shouldn't be acquiring like via trades and such. I guess we did kind of. It depends on where you land on the third or whatever. But like, I don't know. Just yeah, it's almost like with the Suns. Unless they win this year, it's just I don't know. We've yet to see like the big trade workout like that. Have we? I don't know.
It's true. No, I mean the fucking Celtics and the Heat and the Warriors.
Well, the Heat was
Although
the
no,
Heat
he went free
technically.
agency.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
It was about free agency too. That was Kevin Durant decided to go there in free agency, so it wasn't even a trade for them either.
Yeah, it was drafted free agency. That's how they won their championships. They did it the right way,
Yeah, well,
minus KD.
yeah, they got the first one the right way, and then KD showed up and was like, "All right, this just got easier. Let's go get a couple more of these fucking things." It's like I don't hate the player, I hate the game at that point.
I also think Giannis might have been wanting a ball dominant person. Like maybe that's what like you're saying with his durability and age, like he can't play like this anymore. Like but then Dame comes into town, he got the prototype like the archetype he wanted, and then he's like, oh, Dame can't even do that anymore. So I have to like you know what I mean? Like I don't think they're working together just because Dame's not the Blazers Dame. I think Giannis would love I don't know, I think maybe he needs a play style change, and Dame was supposed to come in and do that, and then Dame's like, oh, I'm actually going to shoot over 10 half my nights. So it's like that just can't happen anymore.
I think he needs more of a playmaker if he's going to play with a ball dominant guy. I don't think that Dame is the playmaker like that. Like he's a decent playmaker, but he's not like a hey, I'm going to set you up, and then if it's not there, I'm going to go get mine kind of playmaker.
I mean, they also need a wing.
They need a lot of things.
One with
They need
one
They
with
don't
knees.
have Chris Middleton just doesn't play basketball.
Yeah, they need 4 players not named Giannis Antetokounmpo right now. Like nobody on that team scares you at all. Like they got a kid coming off the bench who hasn't shot a 2-pointer yet this year,
Who?
and AJ
Oh.
Green. Like,
Oh yeah, that's because he doesn't have to. He hits every 3-pointer he
He
takes.
does hit them all, but I mean, hey, if I run him off for 3, then he doesn't know what to do. So hey, cool. Like, and that kid, and that was another guy we were picking on at the end of the game. Like, come here, bud.
Yeah, so it's interesting to see how that Bucks drama is going to play out. I mean, as long as they remain a dysfunctional organization, I'll be okay with it because that just means it's another team taken out of the pack. And having said that, anything else you guys want to talk about from the last week, or do we want to move on to this quick look ahead before tip off here?
Jokic is a god.
Yeah, Jokic.
Okay, Jokic. Yeah, look, let's get into it. Elaborate.
He's having the best offensive season ever so far.
I feel like
And-
you said that the past 3 seasons.
He hasn't been wrong.
Uh,
the past 2 seasons, though.
No, yeah. I mean, to be averaging, I mean, he's just gotten better at everything he wasn't as good at. Like now he's leading the league in 3-point percentage. So, yeah.
They're pretty
Yeah,
solid.
and
There's
he's-
not really a way to cover him.
Yeah, he's leading the league in 3-point percentage, leading the league in assists and rebounds, and he's like second per game. Like he's just first or second in everything. So yeah, that's it. That's the Jokic talk.
And
And
they
he's,
need
and he's
every-
first in having no teammates to help him out.
Yeah, they need every single fucking one of those points, rebounds, and assists to squeak by. To they have a winning record over there. Or they
Pretty good.
Do they?
They're a 7-3.
The 7-3, yeah, Jesus Christ! But can he keep this up for a year? If he keeps it up for a year, that's MVP 4. Like, there's nothing you can do about it at that point. Just bow to a god. But I think that if he has to do this all the way through the year and then he has to do it in the playoffs, I think that the playoffs is when everything's going to really start to shift because every team is going to be like, hey, guess what? We're just going to load up on Giannis and like see who else can beat us on that team. And I don't think they have the horses to beat you in another way.
And that's right. They don't have, it's not a winning formula because they did that last year. It didn't pan out.
They've gotten worse every year since the title. Like they've just lost a piece every year. Jamal hasn't looked the same in a couple of years.
They just paid him too. Didn't they offer him money this offseason?
Yeah, I think they just paid
think
him.
so.
Kind of got to. I mean,
I bet they wish they didn't do that.
it hasn't looked good.
Yeah,
It's a
and
shame.
I do like their young guys though. They've really like Braun and Watson have been really good. So who knows? They could and like all the injuries are happening. Injuries don't happen to Jokic, so like they probably will be in the play. Like they're probably in the top 4. the West. I literally think they'll end in the top four just because I think the Thunder take a huge dip, and then like I think the Suns are going to be injured half the year. Like I don't know, I don't know. It's just I've been watching the past three games, and they make a lot of sense now as a team. That's kind of scary. Like Braun looks like a better KCP this year. He's better than KCP this year. Like have you seen Braun's numbers? He's very good. And then Peyton
No, but
Watson,
didn't he have like a huge dunk? Didn't he baptize somebody the other day?
Rudy Gobert, yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
They wanted to fight him afterwards, and I was like, holy shit, dude, you already fucking embarrassed him. Don't beat him up now.
And I think I saw that Russell Westbrook's averaging like 20, like 1, 6, and 6 over his last 5 games, and like I don't know, they're working now.
And therein is the rub. How reliable is that stat line for Russell Westbrook at this point?
Oh yeah,
How reliable is it when
he's definitely.
teams play off him at the 3-point line during the playoffs and say, hey, just shoot. Like, we'll let Jokic pass to you. Like, we'll use you as the release valve. We don't mind.
Whoa, crazy idea. Can the Nuggets acquire Giannis?
That was the worst player of all time. Oh my god. Trying to put him next to Jokic. Like, Jokic is plodding down the court at a turtle's pace, and Giannis is already underneath the basket. Like, what the fuck? Like, let's go.
Yeah,
But that pick and roll would be so wild, though. At Jokic,
yeah,
pick and roll. Like,
good luck stopping that.
You're just gonna have to switch it because you're gonna have two centers covering the two of them anyways. But it's gonna be really weird for the communication for the defense on that one.
You zag where other people are zigging.
Strong point.
But yeah, my last Jokic annoying nerdy stat will just be that I feel like every year it's always been like, oh, him and Wilt, and this is the one year so far he's doing things that Wilt didn't even do. So there's that. Like his efficiency numbers and all that with the numbers, Wilt actually has never done anything that he's doing.
He just continues to be a silly goose.
Wild stat.
And
I
not
heard
so
about
fun.
the Celtics today. If we get back to them,
What?
they're taking like 560 something threes so far this year, which for one is pretty
Holy
wild.
shit.
Like, you're taking like 50 a fucking game or something stupid, crazy.
That is nuts.
But what's even crazier is that like 83% of them, according to Second Spectrum, were considered open or wide open looks. So an open look is a defender 4 or more feet away from you, and a wide open look is farther than that. So 83% of your threes, nobody's within 4 feet of you, which for a team that shoots this well is like, that's wild.
So what's the cause? What do you think that is? Why do you think that is?
Well, it's the way we run our offense. Like I said, pick on Dame. It's pick on Dame, and then when you send 2 to him, then you start swinging the ball around, and then all of a sudden you got an open shot on the other side of the court, and if they react well enough to it, our offense is a lot of drive and kick, so...
Who deserves credit?
Swung to the corner, that guy's going to drive, and then you're going to kick it back out to the 3 again when they collapse, and then that guy's got an open 3. And like it's Spurs basketball, but it's shooting threes instead of shooting middies. I think, and it all comes down to Jason Tatum for sure. And
Yep.
you got to give Joe Mazzulla some credit on that too, because
I was gonna say it's
not just shoot the first 3 you see basketball; it's shoot the right 3, and that's what we've been doing. Of shooting 83% of your 563s are either open or wide open. Like, that's unbelievable.
I do feel like the Celtics play, and this is just, kind of spurring off of the Nick right, the Nick wrong conversation about the Celtics not playing the game the right way. They really do play a beautiful brand of basketball. One that I haven't seen since, like, maybe Golden State, prime Golden State. Like, they move the ball, they make the extra pass to the wide open guy. Nobody's just hunting when they don't have to. Like sometimes Tatum will smell blood and go for it, and generally it works. But
it's what you want him to do, though. Like, that's how you get your cross matches, and that's how you get the teams in rotation. Because if you don't hunt when you need to, the other team's not going to send 2, and you're not going to get that rotation.
Yeah.
Also, how the hell did we make it this far into the podcast without talking about Nemias Queta?
True.
The guy
we got contractually obligated to talk about him.
He's been a fucking god. I thought that he's been playing unbelievable. His defense has looked so much better. He's a freak athlete coming down the middle towards the rim, which is nice because we haven't had a lot of that.
Dude, I'm so pumped. I'm so pumped he's working out because we need some size, and it's just perfect.
Yeah, I mean we got a back-to-back tomorrow. We play again, so
against Brooklyn.
against Brooklyn, who we just talked about. So that's going to be a big Nemi game because they don't have a center. Like,
Wait, shout out Claxton.
yeah, I mean, Nick Claxton's like a power forward playing center, which is very unfortunate for him. But
Yeah, he's a good shot blocker, but he's not heavy. He's like kind of a small frame. He can like block shots, but I agree. He's kind of like he's not very heavy.
he's not,
Yeah.
not that. I don't think he's about 6'10" too. Like he's not.
No, I think he's pretty tall. I think he's taller than that.
Is he bigger than Tatum? I don't know if he's bigger than Tatum.
Yeah, he's bigger than Tatum.
We'll see. We'll see tomorrow.
I mean, we have the
weight-wise.
capabilities.
I know weight-wise he's not bigger than Tatum. Tatum in the weight room.
Yeah, well, that's. I mean,
And shout out to
he's
the
built like
big
Gumby.
news- Shout out to the big news today for Tatum's thinking about investing in a St. Louis WNBA team, which is pretty wild.
Yeah, I know. Because
He wants to pay $215 million. That's a
Yeah,
lot of
he's
money.
willing to put $200 million down on a team for his community because Jesus Christ, like Jacob was saying earlier in the text, we have a team full of just good dudes, just top notch dudes, just dudes being bros, doing guy stuff. You know?
Yeah, you got Tatum wanting to buy WNBA teams. You have Jaylen Brown smashing all the good-looking WNBA players. Good, great team.
And Jaylen Brown giving back to the community of Boston too. The marginalized communities in Boston, helping them out. Like Lou Cornett, trying to pay off his house slowly but surely in his Honda Civic.
I think Drew Holiday's like won the Man of the Year award like several times too. I don't know what I don't specifically know what he's done since he's gotten here. I should, but he's like kind of known as like
for the hospitals.
yeah.
He's done a lot for the kids.
Wasn't Drew, and I apologize if this is wrong, didn't he have a miscarriage with his wife?
I think he might have. His wife had cancer. I know that.
Yeah.
She had, I want to say, I'm not even going to try and say which cancer it was because I'm not 100% sure of it, but they battled with that for a long time, and she was finally cleared of that. So he's done a lot for the Dana-Farber Institution, I think, too, around here.
Yeah.
So
I say that to say I have a feeling like he's fairly a charitable guy.
Oh, yeah. He's a sweetheart.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, speaking of hospitals, the NBA, half the league is in one.
The NBA's keeping the big medical alive this year.
Yeah. Chet Holmgren, KD, missing one. Chet Holmgren's out 8 to 10 weeks with the iliac fracture, hip fracture.
Yeah, I'd be surprised he comes back in 10 weeks, dude. Like, that guy, he's made of sticks. And also, we're not going to rush you back off a hip fracture. Like, that's a weird-ass injury. Especially when you're big and get pulled out to the perimeter, you're going to have to swing your hips around a lot trying to keep with the guards. And so a lot of pressure on those. Like, I don't think he's coming back after 10 weeks. I don't know if he comes back before, March.
Okay, counterpoint. Their other center is not. He's also injured, and their tallest guy is the other Jalen Williams, who's 6'6".
I mean, counterpoint to your counterpoint. Like, do I want to fuck my future for today by forcing him back early and having him hurt his hip again, or do I want to have him going forward with my other young superstar and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander?
Or do you call up the Milwaukee Bucks and be like, "Hey, you have any 7-footers that can potentially change the league with their gameplay?"
Yeah, sure.
and they're like Brooke Lopez.
Yeah, you guys
Brooke
can have
Lopez.
Brooke.
They should actually. Yeah,
Yes.
that's what I mean. They should do that.
We gladly take Brooke Lopez. I mean, we want Giannis, but we'll settle. Yeah, Chet Holmgren out 8 to 10 weeks, as we just mentioned. Kevin Durant's missing time. Zion Williamson and Kawhi out indefinitely. Two guys who just are not known for their health.
Yeah, I would have bet $1,000 on that happening.
I would have put every dollar I had into one of those two missing indefinite time at some point this year.
John Morant missing 2 weeks,
Yeah, no
but
John
this
Morant,
time not.
Embiid still hasn't played yet this year. We're 10 games in.
Yep,
Paul George
Paulo
played,
Banchero,
twice.
Maxi's out 2 to 3 weeks. Scotty Barnes.
Too. Jesus Christ.
It's a tough time for the league.
Time for fucking Philly. Oh my god, you got two cornerstones of your team that won't play back to backs, and then your young guys out now too with a hamstring, right?
Yeah.
It's on PG-13 and a TikTok star to save him.
Yeah, PG-13 don't play back to backs either.
Who's the TikTok star?
You dug yourself a hole.
Jared McCain.
Two of your best guys don't play back to backs. Great.
Kane's looking good though. He actually has some crazy couple games recently.
Yeah, didn't he carry him? Didn't he have like 31 game and he like carried him to a win?
Yeah, against like the Lakers maybe. But yeah, it was he had a big night. So
The two guys in the league that I would have thought have been injured by now would have been LeBron and AD. Like I don't wish injury upon him, but like betting
LeBron? You would have thought LeBron would have been in? I wouldn't have said
Well,
LeBron.
not
AD.
injured, but he would have been like, "Hey, I tweaked an ankle. I'm going to sit out for a week or two." Like
people think AD's
He should just take weeks off because old.
Yeah,
yeah, really. Yeah.
Like Popovich used to do that for Tim Duncan and shit like that. They would put it on the injury. It just said old. Like,
Yeah.
but that team is in mud. They're you can rely on D'Lo as your third best player right now. Like it's kind of tough.
Not great.
And at some point, D'Lo is going to be your second best player on the floor because LeBron or AD is going to be missing time.
I think AD's turned a new leaf. Honestly, I think AD's. I heard something about him like adding a lot of pounds before last postseason, like in muscle, and that's why he lasted over 70 games last year, and that's why he's like people have been saying he actually did a lot of work on himself to not get injured, and it's working, and it's the last 2 years have shown it. Maybe it'll be.
It only took him till he was 32 years old.
Yeah. See how well that body holds up that extra weight now all of a sudden. Like, I don't.
Yeah,
Well,
he did last year.
It worked last season. Yeah.
And no, he didn't do the Olympics. Oh yeah, he did. Wait,
Yeah, he did.
yeah.
He did.
So
I don't
a
remember.
lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, moving on. We'll see. Steve's very pessimistic about Anthony Davis and the Lakers.
The only people that aren't pessimistic about the Lakers are Lakers fans. Like, they're the only people that think the Lakers are going to make any noise this year.
Yeah.
No, they're just fun. They're just kind of
making
fun.
noise. And speaking of the Lakers, the NBA Cup champions of last year. So they did win some hardware, Steve. You hater.
No hardware for that.
This is
got
their
a
reigning
few
champ
chips.
season too.
Yeah, exactly. That's what the Celtics take it
They're
from them.
defending champs. Who's going to take the belt?
And that's tonight. The Celtics play at home against the Atlanta Hawks. Like we said before, no Trae Young. Basically nobody worth noting besides Jaylen Johnson playing for the Hawks. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be cool to see the parquets again and all the basketball floors being multicolored. Steve's looking at something. What are we expecting? Win? Anything less?
2 years ago. What would you say about 2-3 years ago? What would you say about us facing a team with nobody on it?
We're going to
Everybody
lose.
being
Or it's going to be neck and neck.
It's going to be neck and neck. We're probably going to lose because we just shit our pants. I think that we just take care of business. I think this team is just all business this year. Like it really hasn't been. If we get down 16-2 for the third straight game against this fucking team, though, oh my god, we're gonna
That's
have
brutal.
conversations, like,
Who's even
wake up,
scoring?
wake up, boys.
And then we got a back-to-back tomorrow on the road against Brooklyn. If that's a game that if you're gonna drop any of the upcoming 3 games this week, it's that one because it's the second night of a back-to-back, which probably means no Al.
Definitely needs no Al.
Yeah, and it's Brooklyn who, like we said, is sneaky competitive. I wouldn't say good, but they are competitive. I'm still expecting a win. Probably be double-digit favorites on the road. I wouldn't take the number. And then we're home on Saturday against the Raptors with no Scotty Barnes.
Scotty Barnes is out too. I mean, Jesus Christ.
That's a W. Right?
But then,
3 dubs?
Should be, yeah.
Huh?
Should be.
but then the fourth game,
What's the 4th game?
Jacob's got
a big
the whole
one.
schedule in front of him, I'm sure.
What am I
The
missing?
Cavs.
I didn't write. Oh, yeah, that's
Will
So
we
you're
snap
saying
their
the
break?
Raptors is but that's on Tuesday.
The Cavs is on Tuesday. Yeah.
It's Tuesday, yeah.
So they got some
Monday.
time off, but I see what you're saying. You're saying the Raptors game could be the letdown spot.
Yeah. Honestly,
Workout game.
Fade the Celtics on Saturday against the Raptors
but
if you dare.
I guess not having Scotty hurts that. But yeah.
Yes.
At least we have
Cavs are gonna be,
three easy games before the Cavs. I like that.
the
Yeah.
Cavs still going to be undefeated when we get to them, or
No.
they're going to drop one of the next couple games?
Probably.
I saw their schedule. It's pretty
I mean,
easy.
statistically, yes.
I mean, sure.
Are they going to win
the,
82 games?
the other statistics that they haven't lost yet, so
Yeah, but
the sample
there's been,
size
what,
that they
2.5
went
weeks
versus
into the
losses
season?
this year tells me that they're not going to lose. So,
Maybe you're right. Who knows?
and I would like
Maybe
them to be
they'll-
undefeated coming into Boston, and I would like to just beat the brakes off of them and tell them, hey, who's the champs? Like, you still can't hang.
I'd love to snap the streak. I'm
Yeah,
checking
sure,
right
me too.
now.
I hope you're right.
Yeah. Oh my God. They're playing the Sixers with no one,
Ooh,
Bulls, and then
yeah.
Hornets to get to us. So they'll probably be undefeated.
They're going to be undefeated when they get to us. I think that we can bang on that one.
Yeah.
That's going to be a
Cool.
fun game. That'll be a
Yeah,
I know.
Looking forward.
That'd be game of the year so far, probably, if it ends up being like that.
You would have thought the Knicks game opening night, but that was a blowout.
Yeah, I think that was my favorite game to watch all year, to be honest.
Yeah, that was my game of the year.
We had to watch them hang a banner. We had to watch them get their win. Beat the absolute breaks off another team that everybody was saying was supposed to compete with us for the title this year.
It's New York.
Did you see the
always
stat
feels good.
about Karl Anthony Towns' defensive percentages at the rim?
Oh, it's so
He's given
bad.
up,
What is it?
he's given up 94% at the rim.
It's like
Shit.
it's like better than it's like people make it more often over him than they do open. Is what I saw. Like open layups are missed more.
He's defended 31 shots at the rim this year, and he's given up 28 buckets.
That's got to be yeah, but
That's your
the thing
starting
was-
center. That also has
that's
to play with
stats.
Jaylen Brunson on the team.
That's
like-
statistic. The sample size is it's the sample size that's
Well,
causing that.
Also, to be fair, like you're your starting center, and you've defended 31 shots at the rim, and you're 10 games into the year. So you're, what the hell else are you doing out there?
Fair
Are
point,
you
but
just
he
watching
doesn't
people go by you for layups too, or what?
he doesn't play close to the basket.
On defense, he's supposed to. He's supposed to be covering
Yeah,
our
and
center.
he for now, but like he's not traditionally, and he won't when Mitchell Robinson comes back.
Yeah, but what we're talking about right now. Like, right now,
mean,
you're supposed to be your anchor of your defense. You're supposed to be guarding the rim, and you're giving up 94% at the rim on a team that has Jaylen Brunson getting cooked on the perimeter every night. Like,
Guess
that
what
team
their
just wants to score. They don't want to play defense, and they're
Guess what the
Real shame,
defensive-
hate to see it.
the defensive rating is 23rd in the league.
I'm surprised it's that high, to be honest. If you told me it was like 27, 28,
Wait, the Knicks in 23rd in the league.
yeah.
Yeah, with people like OG.
That's- OG, Mikal Bridges, like he.
Yeah.
Like,
But when,
jeez.
like I said, when your center's giving them 94% at the rim, and Jalen Brunson's also out there,
a bit of a cone.
yeah, they're both cones.
Yeah, 1 and 5 are cones.
And the rim too, or what?
1 and 5 cones is brutal.
Yeah, that sucks.
Both ends
two,
cone.
out, 2 out of your 5 cones. Almost half your team's starting team's cones.
Your two best players cones.
Yeah, the guys that you need on the floor in the fourth quarter can't play defense.
Literally
Yeah,
your two
but,
best
you know,
players.
The only saving grace is knowing that Mitchell Robinson's coming back, and even then, for how long?
What?
Yeah.
Whose spot does he take out on the floor, though? Do you think they put OG to the bench then? Because he's
No,
not
I
power
think they
forward.
kick Mikal to the bench.
Only for 2 weeks until he's injured again.
Yeah, I mean it's irrelevant, really.
At the end of the day, they just still have 2 cones on the floor. Like, and I don't think that the way the NBA's played today with the spreading of the floor, like I don't think that Mitchell Robinson makes that much of a difference on their defensive.
Well, I mean he's a good defender. I just don't think he'd be out there in dying minutes of a game where they need to score because he's a Shaq candidate.
Oh, for sure.
And yeah, so I don't know. It's not good, But I wasn't really worried about the Knicks at all. Anyways, if anything, I'm more worried about the Pacers because I do feel like they can.
And
They
the
have
Cavs.
like
Pacers
And the
are-
Cavs. If the Cavs can play up to their potential, yeah, and it looks like they are. But I'm just saying, the Pacers have, like, whatever they're cooking, it can be a recipe that gives the Celtics issues, I think.
I mean, it has already this year. It took them to overtime, right?
Yeah, and they beat us.
Yeah, the Pacers are the one team in the East that I'm actually worried about.
Yeah.
I mean, my worry level's at like a 3. But it's still higher than everybody else in the East.
It's still in your brain.
In the back of my brain, I'm still remembering that sweep that we had against them last year, where it was actually like, hey, this easily could have gone 7.
I know it was a sweep, but they played us better than any team in the playoffs.
Yeah, the only other teams that got wins against us was the Heat with a historic shooting night, like that's never been done before, and then you drop one to the
Mavs
on just a crazy. You just went so cold from 3; it was unbelievable.
And we lost one to the Cavs, I believe, too.
And the Cavs, yeah, where they had another crazy shooting night, I think. So we lost the variances in the other 3 games.
Interesting.
Yeah.
If the Pacers inbound the ball in game 1, then we lose.
Yeah, the East has gotten dramatically worse, so we should feel pretty comfortable.
I guess we'll never know. Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, anything else big happened in the country the past week?
No, nothing at all.
And I don't know. I just sleep. I don't know what's going on in the world.
Probably for the best.
Just can't wait for the forever sleep.
Wake me up in 2028. Hopefully, we have 4 more titles.
Yeah, just wake me up in June. That's all I really care about.
That's what this team is like this year. It's going to be just wake me up in June all year.
You guys watching any football lately?
I saw some of the Pats.
Looking good. Drake May looking good.
I'm starting to think those sacks were on Jacoby Brissett, not on the offensive line, because Drake May doesn't take sacks. I mean, I know he's a little bit more athletic than Brissett, but like even in the pocket, he's getting rid of the ball before that sack can get there.
But it's also offensive line, and I don't actually mean to go off on a tangent on this. The offensive line is something where you get better as you gel together as a unit. Like, as time goes on, you play better. It's still a terrible offensive line. Like, don't get me wrong. We're starting Michael Jordan. Might as well be starting the guy who's 6'8", 6'6", because he'd be less of a Conan than Michael Jordan restart. But listen, we're not a good team, but Drake May gives me a little bit of a boner, which is nice on a Sunday.
A little bit of movement on a Sunday, so nobody ever.
Yeah, he makes it move.
If only had some people to catch the damn ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that he actually takes risks. Like, I don't care if he's throwing picks. Like, you're a rookie. This team's not going to go for a Super Bowl. Like, just sling the thing. See, if you see it, let it go.
And he's doing it. He's making great throws.
Yeah, you make that mistake, and then you don't make it again. You learn from it, and you go forward.
Yeah.
That crazy touchdown he threw against Tennessee at the end of the game. Like, I know we lost that game in overtime, but like
that was nuts. I was screaming out there in that.
I was watching that going like, "Oh fuck, is he gonna do it? Like, is he gonna do it?"
He sat back, had a cup of coffee, did his taxes, sat in the pocket, just waiting, and I was like, "No way, he's gonna make the completion here," and he did so. So fun times in New England Patriots. It's about time we had a little bit of fun as a New England Patriots fan. I think we're well overdue.
Yeah.
It's gonna be May. I was waiting to bust that out.
All right, well, that's all I got, fellas.
Just another Tuesday in the NBA.
Another Tuesday, and we got
Some
tip in a minute.
Ugly ass fucking courts. I got the Advil all ready for me for the headache this court's gonna give me.
It's brighter green this time.
Yeah, it's fucking like radioactive shit green. What the fuck are we doing?
We're not gonna slander the Celtics organization.
No.
We're gonna slander Adam Silver because he's the one that makes them do it because they don't want to do it. They just want their parquet. Like, you have the most iconic floor in all of the NBA, and you're gonna make us throw this fucking Reptar fucking green on the fucking shit. Like, come on, Jesus Christ.
All right, well, Steve, that's a hot take. I think we'll end on that one. Real nice, real pessimistic of you.
Hey, I didn't say anything about us losing. I'm just saying I don't like the court. I'm allowed to not like the court.
I guess so.
You're allowed.
Well, I'm gonna like watching the Celtics beat up on the Hawks because fuck the Hawks. So that's it from the Banner Report. I'm Cody. That's Steve. That's Jacob. We're here weekly. Let us know what you think in the comments. On our TikTok, follow us on our TikTok. Follow Derek White on every social if you can. Shout out to Hendrix White. Yeah, give us a like and subscribe. Give us a comment. Let us know what you think. And we will talk to you next week.
Peace.
Bye.
Peace.
Go Celtics.